For the longest time, I thought stock market was gambling and I shouldn't invest.
Stock market goes, so goes the wealth of the American economy.
So I spent almost 8 to 9 years of my adult life not investing in stock market. But eventually, when I started, I set some ground rules for myself. I said, I'm not going to gamble, but let me make sure that I make the most informed decisions. Let me start small, just like I tell about startups, right? Think big, start small, grow slow, then grow fast. I use the same principle for investing in the stock market. I started with as low as 500 rupees just to see what it's like to buy a stock and see the price go up and or go down and what happens. So I played with very small amounts of money, 5,000, 10,000, for around 3 to 6 months, just absorbing what is going on. Over the last 3 years, I'm very happy to say I've done well. So here are some tips for you if you are getting in the stock market, investing. Some things that have worked well for me. Number 1, invest in companies that you know and you like. For example, the bank that you bank at. If you bank at X bank, you know you like it or not. I have multiple bank accounts and I decided the one that gives me the best experience, I'll buy in it. And trust me when I say it, in 1 year, I have tripled the amount of money that I invested in that particular bank. And the bank that I don't like, banking with, the behavior isn't the best, the technology isn't the best, I still invested in that bank and it didn't give me as much of a result. So the point is, companies that are doing well and you have a feel-good factor about it and your research supports what you personally feel, validates what your personal perception of that company is, go for it. Number 2, you need to learn to be a futurist when investing in the stock market. Here's an example I'll tell you from my life. I was traveling a lot before pandemic, and at that time, a year and a half or 2 years ago, the automobile industry in India wasn't doing so well. And everybody was like, oh, the prime minister sucks and government sucks and blah, 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 automobiles doing so bad. And I happened to be in Coimbatore for a speech, and Coimbatore has some automobile parts manufacturing companies. And I heard there are some engineers from automobile engineering, and I asked them, hey, what's happening with the automobile industry? Why is it not doing so well? I heard a lot of people are getting fired. What's the future? What does it look like? And these guys told me, sir, it's actually not so bad as they say, because the people who are getting fired are the older folks, and they're actually hiring more people for the electric cars that they're going to come up with. Every automobile brand is going to come up with electric cars in the next 1 to 2 years, and there's going to be a boom again. As soon as I heard that, I started doing research actually to see who is the most probable candidate for the best and the most effective electric car that would work in Indian roads. And for me, it was Tata Motors. I bought quite a few shares of Tata Motors, and I'm so proud to say it has more than doubled in price, and I have made a good profit out of it. So to invest in stocks, you've got to be a futurist. You've got to talk to people, you've got to talk to the industry, you've got to listen to the policymakers and make your decision. Predict what happens in the next 2 to 3 years. How would it impact? Right. Another example, just to give it to you, tips music, right? So as the pandemic kicked in, I realized people are going to be homebound. That means they are going to want to entertain themselves more. And companies that do well in entertainment will give a nice return on investment. And so, of course, Jio Reliance was a definite choice. Tips Music was a definite choice, and few other investments I made. Again, some of them have actually given me 7 times return on investment. That means 700% profit, right? Just having that ability to predict, because when the masses are scared, you being the intelligent person that you are, you need to know that's the time to know about the future, but what these masses would do in the future, and based on that predict what would grow in the future and invest in that. So be a futurist. Number 3 is be careful when you read on various websites that this stock has grown 10 times, 100 times, whatever, right? And such stock, celebrity has invested in this. Know that that price has come to its peak and it might not go up further. And everybody else would be buying it because they saw it. Most people are actually not very intelligent when it comes to investing in stocks. So most people are going to read those articles and buy it further, maybe increasing the price a little bit, but not much. In fact, because of all the hype and all, eventually it will correct itself, which means the price will come down. So if you buy it at that peak price, you will eventually lose money. You can lose money. Of course, if you wait long enough, it might again pick up. But the point is, if you listen to these blogs and everything else and invest when the price is at its peak, you're actually making a wrong decision. If you want to be a good investor, always look for those difficult times, right? The demonetization happened, or the coronavirus happened, or the second wave happened, or whatever, economic crisis, hung government, or whatever the problem is, or there's China, something is happening there. Anytime there is fear, the stock market kind of goes down, and that's when it's time for you and me, smart people, to invest in these stocks, because that problem goes away and it will pick up. Bhagavad Gita says, right? Just like changing seasons, happiness and distress, they're always changing. When it's winter, summer is coming. When there is summer, winter is coming. So similarly, when there are difficult times, when there are recessions, when there are problems, know for a fact good times are coming. So during problems, have enough liquidity to buy enough stocks so that you can enjoy. When things get better, you make money. Number 4, diversify. Make sure you're not investing in one sector only or one stock only. You should be divested across sectors, across stocks. So for example, there's agriculture, there's pharmacy, there is jewelry, there is automobiles, etc., right? So make sure you're divested across various sectors. So in case one sector goes down, a couple other sectors might actually pick you up, and on average, you will be still profitable. I learned this actually at a casino. Now, I don't gamble myself, but a friend of mine almost forced me into a casino in Vietnam. And as he was playing with the roulette, he was making small bets and divesting that way. And he taught me, Avelo, this is how you hedge. This is a life lesson actually, that you don't put all your eggs in one basket. You divest them, you spread your risks so that your risk profile goes down. So you're not risking everything in one thing. You're risking it in multiple places, and chances are, by the probability, by statistics, that some won't do well and some will do well. Versus if you're focusing on only one thing, it's kind of like a heads or tails, 50% chance of it failing, 50% chance of it actually working out. So best to divest into multiple fields, multiple sectors, multiple stocks, so that you have a lower risk profile, and even if something goes bad in one sector, you on average will still be doing well for yourself. Number 5, the last one I'll tell you is don't gamble. Definitely, as a new investor in the stock market, don't do trading or intraday trading, etc., because that requires a lot of skill, a lot of technical knowledge, and at the initial stage that might not be a good idea. I don't trade at all. I just invest and forget. Every month I have a schedule. I'll put in X amount of money, I'll invest, and I forget. And I know for a fact, because as time goes by, if I've invested in good companies that don't go down the drain, they will eventually pick up speed and grow my money. Right? It's a long-term game. It's a game of patience. And especially all of you who watch my videos, I know you're mostly entrepreneurs. So treat it as another source of revenue. As you're building your startup and paying yourself a meager salary, make sure part of that salary goes into the stock market, investing in the stock market, so that, in case there is need, this is something of substance, some substantial amount of money over a period of time that's growing faster than your bank account, and perhaps sometimes faster than your startup, where you can depend on. So treat it as an nth source of income rather than your sole goal motivation. If you find yourself 9:15 in the morning looking at the stock market and going nuts over it, dreaming over it, know for a fact you're addicted, and you might be prone to gambling. And it's dangerous, because what happens is, when you're emotional, you make stupid decisions. When you're overwhelmed, you make stupid decisions. You know why? Because the front part of the brain, what makes us, what's there special about humans is that front part of the brain. The frontal brain is a cognitive brain. It shuts down when you're overwhelmed with stress, when you're overwhelmed with addiction, when you're overwhelmed in any way or form. So you don't make the right rational decisions. Your brain cannot think in its fullest capacity. So control your emotions, be grounded, don't get addicted, and follow the steps I told you. And trust me, at least the first 6 months, these steps will help you, and eventually you'll figure out your own path, and you'll probably do much better than I'm doing. But treat it as a source of revenue for you as you're building your startup, building your life, or perhaps even earning a salary. This is just one thing. This is not your life. So thereby put that much energy and have fun.